Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something, well, something we all think about. How to actually grow and, improve ourselves.
Yeah, definitely.
We've got a really interesting mix of resources to unpack here. Think of it like this. We have a kind of quick start guide from a YouTube video promising 9 habits to transform your life in 2 months.
Right. Pretty ambitious title.
It is.
Hmm.
Then there's a more comprehensive ultimate guide to personal growth that sort of lays out the bigger picture,
Okay.
and also a personal growth study guide that helps connect some different self-improvement ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So our aim really is to pull out the most useful stuff from all of these and see how these different angles on personal growth fit together. Hopefully you can get some real practical takeaways.
Exactly. It's almost like having a few different maps to the same destination, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
The YouTube video gives us some immediate routes, maybe. The ultimate guide provides the broader geography, you could say.
And the study guide.
Well, the study guide helps us understand the landmarks and how they relate, referencing things like James Clear's Atomic Habits, and even hinting at a very, very focused approach from a Shaolin master.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, we're going to try and synthesize these perspectives. We'll look at how we form habits, how our mindset plays a role, skill development, why community matters, and this surprising power of just being present.
Okay, great. So let's dive right into the core of how we make changes. Habits. That 9 habits video suggests some pretty concrete things, doesn't it? Like reading for just 15 minutes every day.
Yep, small, manageable chunks.
And it even suggests finding a community, people who are also focused on getting better. It seems to be about weaving these habits into your daily life over, a couple of months?
2 months, yeah. Which presents a really interesting contrast to the ultimate guide.
How so?
Well, that guide really emphasizes taking those big goals we have, the ones that can feel overwhelming, and breaking them down into much smaller, very specific steps. Think of it like designing the individual bricks before you even think about building the wall.
Okay, like SMART goals.
Exactly. SMART goal specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This approach is much more about strategic planning for change. Just the act of making a goal specific, for example, can really sharpen your focus.
Yeah.
Makes it much easier to get started.
Right, which can be half the battle sometimes.
Totally.
And then you mentioned the study guide brings in James Clear in Atomic Habits. That's a slightly different angle again, isn't it?
It is. Clear's work really focuses on the idea that, significant results come from small, consistent improvements over time. Those seemingly tiny 1% changes that just compound.
Like compound interest for your life.
Pretty much. His philosophy emphasizes building effective systems in your life rather than just, focusing only on the end goal itself.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Like if you want to exercise more, you might create a system, maybe laying out your workout clothes the night before, or going to the gym right after work, making it automatic.
Okay, that makes sense. Build the pathway.
Exactly. But what's fascinating is how that contrasts with another idea mentioned in the study guide, this Shaolin Master Reveals approach.
Right, you mentioned that. We don't have the original source, but what's the gist?
The study guide tells us it suggests a very intense, 30-day period, focusing almost exclusively on mastering one new skill.
Whoa, okay, how?
It involves really prioritizing the essentials, eating well, sleeping enough, dedicated training, and deliberately cutting out distractions like TV, social media, all that stuff.
Wow. So we're looking at quite a range here.
Yeah.
2 months adding 9 habits versus a super focused 30-day deep dive on one skill versus the ongoing gradual improvements of Atomic Habits.
Mm-hmm.
It really makes you consider that personal growth might have different speeds, different phases maybe.
I think so. Sometimes you need to introduce a few new routines, maybe gently. Other times, perhaps a burst of intense learning is what you need.
And it seems like consistently making those small steps always plays a role underneath it all.
It seems foundational, yeah.
It makes you wonder, if you're trying to learn a new language, say,
Uh-huh.
would you be better off studying 15 minutes every single day, like the video suggests, or taking a month off work to just immerse yourself completely, like the Shaolin idea?
That's a key question, isn't it, for you, the listener, to consider. What approach feels most doable, most sustainable for you right now, given your current life, your goals?
Yeah, good point. Are you looking for broader lifestyle adjustments, or is there one specific area where you really want to see rapid progress?
Exactly. Understanding these different levels of intensity, these different time frames, it can help you choose a strategy you're actually more likely to stick with and, get results from.
Okay. Now let's switch gears a bit and look at the actual areas of our lives that these sources say are important for growth. The ultimate guide seems helpful here, giving us a framework.
Absolutely. It lays out several key areas, and they're all kind of connected. It starts with mindset.
Hmm.
And both the guide and the study guide highlight how crucial it is to develop what's called a growth mindset.
Explain that a bit more.
It's basically the belief that your abilities, your intelligence, they aren't fixed. They can be developed through, dedication, hard work.
So not being afraid of challenges.
Exactly. And being kinder to yourself when you face setbacks, actively challenging those limiting beliefs that might be holding you back, often without you even realizing it.
The study guide puts it pretty simply: change your thinking.
Yep. Your underlying beliefs really do shape how you approach everything else. It's foundational.
Definitely. And closely tied to mindset is goal setting, right?
Mm-hmm. The ultimate guide emphasizes the power of those SMART goals we talked about.
Being really clear about what you want, how you'll track it, making sure it's realistic and relevant, setting a time frame.
Yeah, it's about moving beyond just wishing and actually planning how to get there. That specificity, especially the measurable part, gives you clear milestones, keeps you motivated because you see tangible progress.
Makes sense. So mindset, goals. What else?
Building on that, we have skill development. This comes up everywhere, really, whether it's the intense focus of the Shaolin master or the ultimate guide's push for continuous learning.
So always be learning something.
Pretty much. Identifying areas where you want to improve and actively seeking out opportunities, courses, practice, mentors, whatever works for you.
Then the ultimate guide points to emotional intelligence. That
Yeah.
sounds important, but maybe a bit fuzzy for some people.
It can seem that way, but the guide breaks it down well. It's about understanding your own emotions, that's self-awareness, managing them effectively, self-regulation, then understanding how others feel, empathy, and interacting well with people, social skills. It's about navigating both your inner world and your relationships better.
Got it. So it's quite practical, actually.
Very much so. And we can't forget physical well-being.
Oh, yes, the body connection.
Both the ultimate guide and the study guide stress the importance of healthy habits, exercise, diet, sleep. It's a holistic view. Your physical health directly impacts your mental and emotional states.
No doubt. Okay, what else is in the guide?
It also highlights mindfulness and meditation, tools for stress reduction, better mental clarity. These practices help you train your attention, cultivate more presence.
Which you mentioned earlier we'd come back to.
Exactly, it connects. And finally, a critical area that pops up in multiple sources, building a support system.
Community again.
Yep. The ultimate guide emphasizes its importance, and the 9 Habits video makes it a central recommendation. These different areas aren't really isolated, you see. Improving one often helps the others. It's like an upward spiral.
Speaking of support systems, let's dig into that a bit more. Why does community seem like such a big deal here? The 9 Habits video specifically says joining a community of like-minded people, all on the same mission, can be a truly life-changing habit. That's a bold claim.
It is a strong statement, yeah. And the ultimate guide reinforces it, including building a support system is valuable.
And the study guide?
The study guide even directly asks why you'd join such a community and the answer it gives, precisely for that daily self-improvement and pursuing shared goals together.
It's interesting that the YouTube video and the study guide both really emphasize the daily aspect there. It suggests that maybe the regular interaction, the built-in accountability you get from knowing others are on a similar path.
And the shared motivation.
Yeah, that it all creates this really powerful engine for like sustained effort and progress.
Exactly. If we link this back to habit formation, think about atomic habits. Having a community can provide the encouragement, maybe even that gentle nudge you need to stick with those small, consistent actions.
Right, when your own willpower is flagging.
For sure. And it can also make those more intense periods of focus, like the Shaolin master thing, feel less isolating. You know you have a network that understands and supports your bigger goals.
So a key question for you listening might be, are you actively seeking out or, nurturing communities that align with where you want to grow?
That's a great reflective question.
Now, let's turn our attention to something maybe more internal, but seems like it has a huge impact. Focus and presence. Our main sources didn't dive super deep here, but you mentioned the study guide references a YouTube video. Master your mind, find peace.
That's right. And it offers a really valuable insight, I think.
What's the core message?
What stands out is its simplicity, really, but also how profound it is. It emphasizes the importance of training your thoughts, like consciously choosing not to get stuck replaying the past or endlessly worrying about the future.
Easier said than done sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. But the central idea is to bring your full attention as much as possible to the current moment, right here, right now.
And why is that so important, according to this source?
The reasoning is pretty compelling. It suggests that it's only when you are truly present that your mind is free from all those distractions and it can operate at its full capacity.
Okay.
This lets you become completely absorbed in whatever you're doing. The video uses this phrase, "you have arrived," which really captures that feeling of being fully engaged, fully there.
You have arrived. I like that.
Yeah. And if we connect this back to you, the listener, maybe someone who wants to learn effectively, maybe avoid feeling overwhelmed by all the information out there.
Which is easy to do these days.
Totally. Cultivating this ability to just be present can be a game changer. When your mind isn't constantly jumping between regrets and anxieties, you just have so much more mental energy available.
Energy to focus on learning, developing skills, building those habits.
Exactly. It's like decluttering your mental workspace so you can actually get stuff done effectively.
Okay, so how do we tie all these threads together? We've got different ways to form habits, small steps, intense focus. We've got key areas for growth mindset, goals, skills, community, and now this idea of being present. How do they all work together in practice?
Well, I think it really has to start with that growth mindset we discussed earlier.
Believing you can improve.
Yes. That's the fundamental belief that underpins your willingness to even try adopting new habits, whether it's small steps or that intense focus. That mindset fuels your motivation to step outside your comfort zone, like the Ultimate Guide talks about.
Okay, so mindset is the foundation. And how does community slot in?
Community provides that crucial accountability and encouragement, especially when your own motivation dips, which, let's face it, it does for everyone.
Definitely.
It gives you a space to share your goals, learn from others, celebrate those small wins that Atomic Habits says are so important. Plus, just knowing you're not alone makes tackling challenges feel much more manageable.
Makes sense. And where does being present fit in this whole picture?
Cultivating presence, I think, significantly enhances the effectiveness of everything else.
How?
Well, when you're truly focused during that 15 minutes of reading or fully immersed in practicing a new skill, you're just going to absorb more. You'll learn faster. You build that concentration muscle.
And it probably cuts down on the mental noise.
Exactly. It reduces the distractions, the mental chatter that can sabotage your efforts and lead to that feeling of overwhelm we want to avoid.
So it's really an interconnected system, isn't
I
it?
believe so.
Your mindset influences how you approach habits. Community provides support. Being present lets you focus and learn better. And all of this contributes to growth in those key areas, like skills, well-being, emotional intelligence.
Precisely. It's not really about choosing one of these things in isolation. It's more about understanding how they all reinforce each other and how you can intentionally weave them together into your own personal growth journey.
Okay, so as we bring this deep dive towards a close, let's try and summarize the key insights for you listening.
Sounds good. First, maybe remember that there isn't one single right way to approach personal growth. It's not one size fits all.
Right. You can make progress through those consistent small habits, like Atomic Habits.
Or through more intense periods of focused effort, like the Shaolin idea, or, most likely, through a thoughtful mix of both strategies depending on the goal and the time.
Okay. Second key takeaway.
Second, those key areas we discussed from the Ultimate Guide mindset, goal setting, physical well-being, emotional intelligence, skill development, support systems, they really are the fundamental building blocks. Paying attention to each leads to more balanced, sustainable growth.
Don't neglect any one area too much.
Ideally, yeah. Third, never underestimate the power of connecting with others.
The community piece.
Actively seek out and engage with communities, online, offline, whatever, people who share similar goals. That connection offers invaluable support, motivation, and that accountability factor.
Keeps you on track. And finally,
developing your ability to be present, to focus on the current moment, quiet the mental noise. It's not just about finding peace, though that's great too.
it's practical.
It's a powerful tool for enhancing your learning, improving your focus, and ultimately really accelerating your personal growth journey.
Okay, those are great takeaways.
And maybe here's a final thought for you to chew on, something to consider.
Go on.
How might intentionally bringing that sense of being present into the specific habits you're trying to build actually amplify your results.
Interesting. Like, could fully focusing on just that 15 minutes of reading or that one small step towards your goal make a surprisingly big difference in your overall transformation, maybe bigger than you think?
Exactly. Could that mindful attention be a multiplier?
Food for thought. We've covered a lot of ground today exploring different facets of personal growth from these various sources. Which of these ideas resonated most strongly with you? What questions do you have about how you might apply these principles in your own life?
Yeah, we encourage you to explore further, maybe look into growth mindset, different habit formation techniques, the power of community, or practices for cultivating presence.
Lots to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.